Have you ever felt like you're different from everyone else around you? Like there's something about you that doesn't quite fit the usual mold? What if I told you that the answer might lie in your ancestry, not just decades back, but millennia, in a past so ancient it blurs the line between myth and reality? Today we're diving deep into one of history's most intriguing mysteries, the Nephilim. Mentioned in ancient texts as giants or the offspring of gods and humans, the Nephilim have been subjects of fascination and fear through the ages, but there's more to their story. Some believe that the bloodline of these colossal beings still flows in some of us today. Imagine beings so powerful and imposing that their very existence challenged the foundations of the ancient world. Now consider the possibility that you, yes, you watching this right now, could share a connection with these legendary giants. In this video we'll explore who the Nephilim were, sift through historical clues and myths, and examine the modern-day theories that suggest their descendants walk among us. We'll look at the evidence, both scientific and anecdotal, and consider what it means to carry the legacy of the Nephilim in our genes. To truly grasp the mystery of the Nephilim, we first need to understand who they were, according to the oldest sources available to us. The word Nephilim itself is often translated to mean the fallen or the giants, but their story begins much earlier than many realize, deep in the pages of ancient texts. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown." This passage from the book of Genesis is one of the first mentions of the Nephilim. It suggests that they were the offspring of the sons of God, often interpreted as angels or divine beings, and human women. This union produced a race of beings noted not just for their size, but for their might and the profound impact they had on the world. But the biblical account isn't the only mention of these beings. Various apocryphal texts, like the Book of Enoch, provide a more detailed account, describing the Nephilim as angels who fell from heaven, consumed with lust for human women, and teaching humanity forbidden knowledge that led to widespread corruption and violence. The story of the Nephilim is complex and layered. They're depicted as both heroes and villains in ancient texts, embodying the dual nature of their divine and human origins. Their presence is said to be one of the reasons for the Great Flood, as their actions threw the moral balance of the world into chaos. So, the Nephilim were more than just giants. They were a bridge between the human and the divine, a potent symbol of what happens when the natural order is disrupted. But the question remains, did any survive the flood, and could their bloodline extend to the present day? We'll explore these questions as we delve deeper into the mystery of the Nephilim bloodline. The Nephilim are mentioned not only in the book of Genesis, but also in subsequent narratives and other ancient civilizations' lore. Their story intersects with key events that shaped the ancient world, including the Great Flood, a pivotal moment intended to cleanse the earth of corruption. In the times before the flood, the Nephilim were said to have a profound influence on human societies. Their great size and strength, coupled with their semi-divine knowledge, allowed them to teach and also intimidate the human populations. Across many cultures there are legends of giants who walk among us, influencing the development of civilizations and often becoming the reason for their downfall. In the case of the Nephilim, their presence is linked with widespread moral decay, which, according to the biblical narrative, prompted the divine intervention of the flood. This intervention, meant to erase the mistakes of the past, ostensibly included wiping out the Nephilim. But intriguingly, post-flood texts hint at their survival. suggesting either their return or that the flood was not as all-encompassing as believed. After the flood, giants still feature prominently in biblical texts, such as the story of David and Goliath or the accounts of the Anakim in Canaan, descendants of the Nephilim. This continuity hints at a more complex narrative, perhaps a recurring theme of divine-human hybrids influencing human history, with historical and mythical accounts suggesting the Nephilim's profound impact on early human societies. A captivating question arises. Could their genetic legacy have survived the flood and persisted into the modern era? Let's explore the scientific and speculative theories behind the survival of the Nephilim bloodline. Genetics tell us that traits from our ancestors are passed down through generations, sometimes remaining dormant for many generations before manifesting. Given the extraordinary nature of the Nephilim, if their bloodline did survive, the genetic markers could be quite distinctive, albeit diluted over millennia. While modern genetics has made it possible to trace lineage back thousands of years, confirming a direct link to a group like the Nephilim involves not only having a clear genetic marker, but also historical and archaeological evidence to support such a claim, which is currently speculative at best. Despite the lack of concrete scientific evidence to support the existence of Nephilim genes today, numerous theories and claims persist, fueled by historical accounts and modern interpretations of ancient texts. One popular theory suggests that the Nephilim, or at least some of them, survived the flood by other, less documented means, possibly through remote or isolated populations. These survivors could have interbred with humans, passing along traces of their genetic makeup. Belief in the survival of the Nephilim bloodline has not only been a topic of academic debate, but has also influenced various esoteric and occult traditions. These groups often claim descent from such beings, using it to explain unusual physical or mental traits among their members. While these theories are captivating, they remain on the fringe of scientific discourse. The idea of the Nephilim surviving through genetic means is a fantastic puzzle that bridges our past with our present, intertwining our human story with the myths and legends that have shaped civilizations. So whether the Nephilim bloodline truly survived may remain a mystery, wrapped in the enigma of our ancient origins. But it raises profound questions about what else might lie hidden within our DNA, waiting to be discovered. If the Nephilim were indeed real, and some of their descendants walk among us today, what physical traits might they exhibit? Throughout history, certain extraordinary characteristics have been romantically linked to these legendary beings. According to various myths and speculative theories, some of the traits that might suggest a Nephilim heritage include exceptional height, unusually strong physiques, and distinct facial features that set individuals apart from the typical human lineage. While it's captivating to think about, the genetic likelihood of passing down such dramatic traits over thousands of years is exceedingly slim. Most traits dilute over generations unless continuously reinforced through selective breeding. Traits such as gigantism or other genetic anomalies are often pointed to as modern evidence of a Nephilim bloodline. However, medical science attributes these characteristics to known genetic conditions that are well understood today. Culturally, extraordinary physical traits have often been interpreted through a mystical lens, linking them to divine or otherworldly origins. This can be seen in the lore surrounding the Nephilim, but also in how societies have viewed individuals with these traits throughout history. While these stories are compelling, they underscore a human tendency to connect the unknown or the extraordinary with ancient myths. Whether these traits truly signify a connection to the Nephilim is a matter of belief more than scientific fact. In the end, the physical traits associated with the Nephilim help to weave a rich tapestry of human diversity and mythology. They remind us of our enduring fascination with where we come from and what makes us unique. Traits such as a profound sense of alienation, feeling like an outsider, or experiencing the world in a way that seems fundamentally different from those around them are often reported by those who believe they have a connection to the Nephilim. While these feelings can be interpreted in many ways, some attribute them to a lineage that is not entirely human. However, from a psychological perspective, such experiences can also be explained by high sensitivity, creativity, or certain personality traits not necessarily linked to mythical ancestry. In addition to feeling out of place, other reported signs include having intuitive or psychic abilities, possessing an unusually high intellect, or demonstrating extraordinary creativity. These traits are romanticized as echoes of the Nephilim's supposed supernatural qualities. Throughout history, those with unusual talents or perspectives have often been mythologized. It's a way for cultures to explain and honor the extraordinary, weaving it into the fabric of their most compelling legends, like those of the Nephilim. It's also worth considering that such traits could be the result of natural variation within the human species, attributes that make each individual unique but are not necessarily indicative of a mythical heritage. The myth of the Nephilim extends far beyond ancient texts, permeating various aspects of modern culture. Today we explore how the legend of these ancient giants has influenced contemporary art, literature, and even conspiracy theories. In literature, the Nephilim have inspired a genre of fantasy and science fiction that imagines their survival into modern times, or their re-emergence into our world. These stories often explore themes of divine intervention, human evolution, and the battle between good and evil. Giants in literature often symbolize something beyond their physical presence. They represent challenges to be overcome, or they embody societal fears and aspirations. The Nephilim, with their dual nature of divinity and humanity, serve as perfect metaphors for exploring complex philosophical and ethical dilemmas. In film and television, these beings captivate audiences with their superhuman abilities and the mystery of their origins, often blurring the lines between myth and reality, encouraging viewers to question what might be possible. The myth of the Nephilim also feeds into various conspiracy theories. Some believe that the Nephilim are not just a story from the past, but are among us today, influencing global affairs and shaping the course of history from the shadows. These theories often tap into deeper societal anxieties about unknown and powerful forces controlling our world. This blend of ancient myth and modern conspiracy points to a deep human need to find meaning and narrative in the unexplained aspects of our existence. The Nephilim, as ancient and powerful beings, fill that role, offering a way to contextualize modern complexities and unknowns. As we've seen, the myth of the Nephilim has deeply influenced culture and speculation. But what does modern science have to say about these ancient claims? Today, we dive into the fascinating intersection of genetics and archaeology to explore if there's any scientific basis to the idea that traces of the Nephilim could exist in our DNA. With today's technology, we can trace human ancestry back thousands of years, identifying markers that show migration patterns and interbreeding between different human groups. However, identifying something as specific as a Nephilim gene poses significant challenges, both scientifically and ethically. Geneticists can analyze ancient DNA extracted from archaeological sites to reconstruct genetic profiles of long-extinct populations. This has opened new windows into understanding human history, but linking these findings to mythological beings like the Nephilim is another matter entirely. Throughout history, we've discovered unusually large human skeletons and artifacts that some claim to be evidence of the Nephilim. However, these are often normal human remains that have been misinterpreted or are examples of individuals with medical conditions like gigantism. Despite these scientific explanations, the allure of connecting these findings to the Nephilim persists in popular imagination. The idea that we could find a direct link through DNA is compelling and continues to inspire both scientific and amateur exploration. In the world of pseudoscience, claims about discovering the Nephilim's DNA often surface, attracting attention and sparking debate. While these claims lack scientific backing, they highlight a continued fascination with linking our human story to the divine or the extraordinary. So while modern science has not confirmed the existence of Nephilim DNA, the quest for our ancient origins remains a powerful force driving both scientific inquiry and mythological speculation.